was a different kind of a night. It was a crazy kind of a night. I've had trouble reminding myself what day it is today because these Tuesday night games
right.
are so rare. And I feel like there should be a game tonight because there's one tomorrow night. There were two Monday. There was one last night. Let's just go ahead and play a game every night of the week except Friday and Saturday, which legally the NFL can't do. But let's play them. And last night's game was it 34-17 suggests it was more of a blowout than it was. It was in doubt for a while. The first half was exciting.
Right.
There was almost a Hail Mary, a Hail CD, where I don't know how many times I can recall a Hail Mary where the ball actually goes through the hands of the receiver and he has a clear shot at catching it. So it was an exciting game. It was fun to watch, and these teams play each other once every 4 years. It's neat to see them on the field together, and I like Tuesday night football.
I do too. I mean, listen, I'm enjoying it. It gives us something to talk about. But you're right. It's just great to the day of work is done, whatever. Eat some dinner, and now you got something to look forward to at night. I mean, it really is. It's great to sit there on the couch and watch a real football game, and like we always talk about, to focus on one game. I think that's the best thing about it. Game had a little bit of everything, though. It did. I mean, you're right. There was drama early on. Baltimore kind of looked like they were asleep at the wheel or weren't playing really good football, early, whether that's the Lamar Jackson, interception. Justin Tucker misses the field goal. You never see that. That was like the total kibosh jinx by Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to talk about it that much. That was unreal how that unfolded.
It's almost like they were doing it to see if it worked.
Right?
They were like waving a wand saying, does this wand work? Let's try to wave this wand in the direction of Justin Tucker to see if it works, and it worked.
It was great. I mean, the way Joe Buck did it too. I said, I'm going to be confident, and he's going to hit 71. We're not going to jinx him here. I mean, it's just amazing how that happens. But it was there to be had a little bit early on with Dallas to go, whoa, they could take control of this game and put Baltimore down by double digits or put them in some tough spots. But that never really came about. And Lamar Jackson and that offense kind of found their way. And then, Dallas stinkiness on defense finally started to show itself on play after play after play, and we see their issues there. So it was a good night by Baltimore. I will say it wasn't perfect, and I also will say the defensive performance by Baltimore was a little concerning. So those are my little takes of the night, Mike, more than anything as far as the game is concerned.
There was a moment fairly early on that reminded me of the Seahawks game from a year ago when the Ravens first really hit the radar screen as an elite team, when Lamar Jackson insisted on going for it on fourth down. And, this wasn't mentioned in real time during the broadcast, and I know that they are processing a lot and they don't see what we're seeing. They're initially watching the field, but you could see Lamar Jackson on 4th and 2, that play that resulted in the 37-yard touchdown, pushing, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
We're going for it. And that was like the moment that he took it all on his back and he exploded down the middle of the field. And they showed on the replay there was a giant hole in the middle of the defense where there was no one there to even try to catch him. Not that anyone on that field could have caught him, but that was the moment where the rest of it just felt like details, even though, again, it still was in doubt. It still was close. They still could have blown it. But with that kind of just explosion from Lamar Jackson, you felt like if they needed something like that later in the game, they'd get it again. They really didn't need something like that later in the game.
No, they didn't. But that was our first oh, wait, okay. They are going to gash them in the run game. They are going to make big plays. Because up to that point, you're a little scared. You're looking like, well, man, Baltimore doesn't look like they got it all the way here. What's going on? But great leadership by him. Again, having confidence in thyself. And then Jim, I give John Harbaugh a lot of credit. He does listen to his players in these type of situations. And Dallas just outmanned up front, not big enough. And then Leighton Vander Esch, who's really responsible for that backside gap, he was in a tough spot. There's a lot of movement going on, and he doesn't make the play. And once Lamar Jackson gets a step on you, it's over. But even with that, Mike, they score the touchdown, and it makes you feel good. Then the kick return happens for Dallas, and they're down there close again, and you're going, holy cow, I mean, what is going on here? But then the game settled in, and Baltimore clearly showed that they were the better football team.
The animation from Next Gen Stats is impressive because it's as efficient as it can be. The closest distance between 2 points is a straight line, almost virtually literally a straight line down the field for Lamar Jackson. But that's what happens when you have that kind of burst acceleration and speed. You don't have to make any moves. And you look at how everyone was clustered up the line of scrimmage. Yeah, once you get past that first level, you're gone. That's it. No one has a chance, and there goes Lamar Jackson. Shereen Williams had been saying with exaggeration that the Ravens would put up 300 rushing yards against the Cowboys, and her exaggeration was almost right on the money, 294. Right. We thought 265 a few weeks ago against the Steelers was a lot. 294 against the Dallas Cowboys. They just couldn't stop J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson, and Gus Edwards, just like it was against the Steelers. And as this team gets back to full strength, this team will be dangerous down the stretch. And what a Monday night game it sets up to be when the Ravens go to play the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens won 38-6 in Week 1. The Browns got their signature victory over the Titans on Sunday. Wow. And the Browns got 2 extra days to get ready for this one. It's another 6-day turnaround for the Ravens as they ease back into a normal schedule after their COVID-19 debacle. And the Browns have an extra day because they played on Sunday anyway. So 2 net extra days for Cleveland. They're going to need them if this Ravens team continues to hold it together the way they did last night.
Yeah, well, they're going to need them, but Baltimore is going to need practice too, because that game did not make me feel like, like I said earlier, confident, warm, and cozy about Baltimore. Hey, yeah, that run game, we know it's an issue. And when they do have the 3-headed monster at running back, I mean, Gus Edwards, Ingram looks like he's getting closer to being like totally 100% himself. And then J.K. Dobbins, man, they got a little of everything to offer to you as far as the defense. The sledgehammer and Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins on the edge running and his speed. And then Ingram has a little bit of both there, more of the sledgehammer. Cleveland, though, they're going to be able to run the ball on Baltimore too. I mean, again, we've seen teams do that to Baltimore. That's kind of the bad thing about them right now, or at least the thing I'm concerned about. And, again, I know they've gone through a lot and haven't had everybody healthy and they're even banged up to this point still, which I do think affects their defense. Some injuries in the secondary. They're not totally healthy up front. That takes away Winks Martindale's ability to do a lot of creative fronts and things like that when he's not comfortable with what he's got in the coverage in the back end. So I think that's hamstrung them a little bit. But still, I expect that to be a very close football game with the way Cleveland's playing right now and Baltimore being kind of up and down. I mean, I think it's there to be had. The Browns could establish themselves as one of the new kings of the AFC North.
Let's put a pin in that moment that Lamar Jackson reminded us all that he's still Lamar Jackson. Here he is after the game talking about that moment on 4th and 2.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I wasn't even thinking about it would be a 4th down after the play got called. I'm just like, we just gotta keep it going, like convert. But we did a great job. Prior to that, I think we got stopped the job before that, so we had to go put points on the board. We were driving the ball downfield. Our defense playing, lights out like always. We just had to do what we had to do, and coach called that play. The line did great. I just had to finish it off.
And he did finish off. And between the Browns and the Ravens, the Cowboys have given up over 600 rushing yards in 2 games this year. Cleveland had 307. The Ravens had 294. Unbelievable for them. Unbelievably bad for the Cowboys. And you really do have to wonder. They're now 3-9. We had a little clip of Ezekiel Elliott post-game where he sounds kind of strangely optimistic. You're 3-9. I understand that first place in the division is 5-7, but 3-9, their best case scenario is 7-9. What a horrible season for the Dallas Cowboys. And I know it went off the rails when Dak Prescott got injured, but there was so much hype about how they went out and got Andy Dalton. They had the foresight to have a veteran quarterback. Look, this has just been bad, and the defense has been abysmal all year long. That Cleveland game was before Dak Prescott got injured. The defense is horrendous. They got a lot of work to do in the offseason by way of getting players who can run what Mike Nolan wants to do, or getting rid of Mike Nolan, all due respect, and hiring someone who will work better with the players they have.
Yeah, that's it. It's one of those 2 options. But, I mean, it's amazing that it ever got to that point. I mean, we discussed this a lot earlier in the year when Dallas was a team we talked about more. But, Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, two things I think that's worth mentioning there that you brought up. You know, first off, it's 3 wins. It's only 1 win since Dak Prescott's been out. Only 1 win. I do think, there's enough talent on this team to make things a little bit more salvageable, maybe win more games. I will say that on the offensive side of the ball, it's been disappointing, that performance. Just lack of explosiveness still with those weapons and Andy Dalton, like you're saying. But the defense is just atrocious. That's why you couldn't pick them in the game last night by any sense of the imagination, because it doesn't even look right, their defensive line. They don't even look like a big-time NFL, front four or anything like that. And there's just so many plays where they're asking guys who have no business playing 2-gap defense, right, Mike? Here we talk about 2 gaps are made for the giants of football that can hold an offensive lineman up and then sit there and disengage no matter which way the ball goes. They don't have those guys. And against the Baltimore Ravens, them trying to do that, good night. And that's why you saw some plays for Baltimore where nobody's touched until they were 15 or 20 yards down the field.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.